Gough. Is it Gough? Is that how I say
Yes,
your
very
surname?
good.
Yeah. Can you introduce yourself and tell us what it is you do and what your career in entertainment has looked like up until this point, or so far?
Oh my gosh. How long have you got? That's
I-
quite a big.
in a nutshell, and then we'll dig into
Quickly, yeah.
parts. Like if someone said, "Okay, tell me what you do," what would you, at a networking event or a party or something? How would
Okay.
you describe yourself?
So I think at the moment I kind of have 3 jobs. One's on the back burner. So I'm an actress. I trained as a dancer, and I kind of did a lot of dance. And then the last kind of 10 years I switched, became an actress. That's on the back burner a little bit because I am resident director on a musical called Shrek, which we're on tour at the moment. And I also run my own talent agency called Atomic 79. So those last 2 things take up most of my time, and the other things kind of on the back burner. But I'm not at the stage where I want to just give it up yet. So it's still kind of, it's still kind of tickling away there. But I think my agent's kind of like, what are you doing? But yeah, for now it's on the
Right.
back burner. So 2 almost full-time jobs.
Yeah, amazing. When does Shrek finish? I don't know. Do those things go for years or like?
So we finish May the 4th.
Okay.
And then
May the 4th be
there's a
with you.
break, and then it's going to go into Hammersmith Apollo for 7 weeks. So we've been
Okay.
touring for 10 months now,
Right.
and it's a month in each venue, so it's
Wow.
quite
Hectic.
intense.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as resident director, I only now do 4 days a week. So I get to be here, for example. I get to come home and spend time with my husband, which is lovely. So, but they'll be here. They've got 2 shows today, so
Yeah.
So it's not as bad for me.
Yeah. Amazing though. Okay, so firstly, can we take it back to your childhood? What were you like as a child? Like your personality,
Delightful.
your interests? Yeah, that was perfect.
I was quite shy as a child, actually.
Yeah.
I was quite shy, and I think I got into kind of dance and stuff maybe to find a way around that shyness. But I remember like doing ballet and stuff, and then them saying we're going to do exams. I remember leaving because I was too scared to do the exams. I remember being at gymnastics, leaving because I didn't want to do the badges because I was too scared.
Right.
But I think my mum really wanted to be an actress, and her parents said to her, "Do so. No, you can't. You've got to be a teacher or a doctor or something sensible." So she kind of forgot that, and she became a deputy head teacher and a lecturer, and my dad was in education as well. And so actually, by the time my brother and I came along, it was such a blessing that my mum was kind of like, do something that you love. What would you like to do? You can do anything. And so we both said, oh, I think we want to be dancers. So they allowed both my brother and I to kind of go into the arts, which is pretty amazing because obviously, as you know, it's kind of quite an unstable kind of career. But so I was
particularly
quite
back then, like it wasn't like, even I think in my upbringing, it was first, your parents wanted you to go and do this, unless you had an artistic parent, just to be more stable.
Yeah, absolutely. Something to fall back on, and that was the kind of thing, wasn't it? But so I was quite a shy child, but I think eventually that kind of doing the dance classes and the singing classes and I think me and my brother were very lucky. We got to try everything and see what kind of stuck. And eventually for both of us, it was dance. So yeah, I think I was quite a well-behaved child actually, and
went
quite
like
shy. But I think
reckless-
it was good we had somewhere to focus our energies because we were doing dancing. But by the time I got to my teen years, we were doing dancing like every day. So it's a
Wow.
lot. And a big commitment and a big sacrifice for our parents as well. Being that sort of taxi drive service and financially as well.
Yeah. So you would, by the time you were a teenager, you were that serious about training dance, like full time during the week.
Yeah,
Kind of thing.
and maybe I didn't know it was going to be a career. I think it was kind of it was a dream. Like I remember seeing 42nd Street at Drury Lane. I can't remember what age I was, but actually weirdly Catherine Zeta-Jones was covering the lead, and she was on that day. And I remember watching it going, oh my gosh, I want to do that as a career. Like that is amazing. So yeah, I don't know, it's just always something that's kind of been in us, but I don't know if I knew it was going to be my career, but it's just something I loved. And I guess also, if you come to the point where you think, oh my gosh, I might be able to be paid for this, this hobby, that's pretty, it's pretty special.
This drive to keep pushing further.
Yeah.
Amazing. And were you into like any other sports and stuff when you were a child? Like, did you play football or basketball, or was that like part of your upbringing?
Yeah,
as well?
loved it.
Athletics
Loved
or
it. I was in every team I could possibly get into. I was on the
yeah.
basketball team, I was in the hockey team, I was in the athletics team. I loved
Mm-hmm.
running. I loved high jump. Like, yeah, I loved the relay. So I would think I was just always outdoorsy and kind of sporty, and
Yeah.
yeah, I loved all that. And so, yeah, after school, you go and play netball tournaments, or you go and play hockey tournaments, or you go and play basketball. And obviously, I was quite tall as well, so that's good for basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, but even though I was doing all those things, dance was always my first love. Like, that was a good hobby and something we did at school. But I never thought, oh, I'm going to be an athlete. Like, that never
Yeah.
crossed my mind.
Yeah. But you just enjoy the sports. I feel
Mm.
because being my background's dance too, but I always played soccer, football,
Do you?
and I loved football, but I never thought of it like you as a serious thing. I was that like cliche kid, like I'm going to be a dancer. You know, that was my like you said,
Yeah.
like love. So I
Yeah.
relate to that. What like so early career was as a dancer? Am I right in saying that?
So, I went to Bird College and I left. And then I was very blessed, actually. Like, the first job I got, I kind of auditioned for Miss Saigon in the West End.
Mm-hmm.
And I graduated, and then I literally started rehearsals 2 weeks later, which is kind of rare. And
Dream.
that was an amazing job to be at Drury Lane. And I remember going on stage and looking around the set and thinking, I can't believe I'm going to get paid for this. I can't, I do this for free. And I have done it for free, or not even free. My parents have paid for me to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
And suddenly, like, I was literally like so wide-eyed. And I look back now and think, I wish I'd realised what a big deal that was. But at the same time, it's nice. That naivety of youth is lovely in a way. And so that was my first job. And it's interesting because obviously I think these days there's no way I'd be in Miss Saigon. This was like, 1997, I think it was. And yeah, I wouldn't be allowed to be in Miss Saigon now, but things were kind of different back then. So that was a great opportunity. I'm working for Cameron McIntosh. She's just a brilliant producer, and it was just a really good time in my life, I think. So yeah.
And so what did your dance career look like after that? Did you keep doing shows like on the West End, or did you join other companies, or do like what styles did you get into? Or
A bit of everything. So I did like West End, then I'd go off on tour, and went to Japan and did a musical out there called On Your Toes for 5 weeks. We went to Japan, which was amazing, and that show's kind of split into tap dancers or ballet dancers. I was a tap dancer. I am not a ballet dancer at all. I've got flat feet. It's horrendous. So yeah, I was definitely more that side. So yeah, it's kind of like musical theatre kind of style, or jazz alongside my singing and stuff. So yeah, everywhere really. Yeah, I've never been on a cruise or anything like that. I think it'd be amazing to get paid to see the world in that way. But I have been to. Did a job in Barbados and Dubai and Kazakhstan randomly, and
that is so random.
I know.
Yeah. What was the job in Kazakhstan?
So random. It was actually a gig for a politician. I think we just went there for 4 days. But yeah,
and what sort of dance style like was the performance?
That was literally just a singing gig.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was just a singing thing.
Yeah.
Been to Jordan, the Middle East for 2 days. That was a singing gig. I don't know, just going to these interesting countries and getting paid to do so. And again, I was thinking, I can't believe I'm getting paid for this. Like, yeah, so good.
So has musical theatre has sort of been the world that you've operated in with the dance, the singing and the acting, or have you done like, I don't know, like hip hop dancing, or for bands, or like have you had a band, or what's sort of like your career, different paths?
So interestingly, yes. So I think actually, when I was a kid, my dream, if I could have put my finger on it, would have been to be Britney Spears. Like, not literally Britney Spears, but have that sort of career where you're dancing and singing together. Like, I was like, I want to be a pop star. And I did it. I think when I was 24, I co-wrote a dance track that became a top 40 hit, which doesn't really mean anything now, but back then was
still
like,
cool.
Top 40, yeah. And it was on all the kind of...
What was it called?
It was called Eternity. And it's on all the like kind of Ministry of Sound, Ibiza albums, which my dad bought all of them.
Right.
Yeah, which is really weird because my dad likes Bob Dylan and stuff. So to have all these like Ibiza things was like really strange.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I auditioned for a girl band that was called Face to Face, and eventually they became Mystique, but I kind of left before then. And I had a band later on, like a kind of gospel kind of band I was in, and so I was kind of tried to plug away at it. So that was something I was doing kind of in between musical theatre things, or you have a break and it's like, oh, okay, let me audition for this. And when I left college, it was just a few years after the Spice Girls had formed, and we still had things like what's called the stage newspaper, which is kind of online now, but you could actually go and buy the stage newspaper, and you'd look and you'd find auditions that you could attend, like open auditions,
right.
or
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
find, music producers who want a singer, and you'd kind of apply and do stuff that way. So I had that side. And then as I got a little bit older, I started thinking, oh, do you know what? I wouldn't mind not dancing quite as much. Which,
Right.
to your 16-year-old self, I'm sure you probably had something similar. You kind of think, I will always want to dance.
Yeah,
Dancing will
yeah.
always be
Oh,
my
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
And then I got to 33, 31, 33, something like that. And I was doing a musical called Flashdance, which Arlene Phillips choreographed. And I was swing, which is a notoriously difficult kind of thing to do because you cover all the
All the
ensemble.
parts. Yeah, yeah.
And some people are amazing at it and their brain works in that way. And I think I didn't enjoy it that much. But, you're kind of up against the 21-year-olds and the 19-year-olds who, even though the technique stays, your stamina just goes. And I think, I don't know if I want to dance anymore. So I started trying to move sideways a little bit. And so I got into some acting, and I did a straight play, a comedy with a comedian who's now passed called Rick Mao. And I started thinking about, pivoting. I suppose that's the word we use all the time now, isn't it? I
Yeah,
started
yeah.
thinking about pivoting within the industry. And I suppose that's my first kind of time I started to think about pivoting and moving away from the dance. That'd been my first love.
Do you think a lot of dancers, because I had a back injury in my 30s, and that's what sort of made me pivot into music out of dance. But do you think, like, you could say that dance has a shelf life for at a certain level, I guess, like if we're talking like musicals and chorus line and
Yeah.
all of that sort of thing, it's sort of natural maybe in your 30s. Like, do you
Yeah.
know any 40-year-old
I know
chorus
some
liners
dancers in their late 30s who are
still
amazing.
smashing it?
And they're still
Yeah.
doing
That's
full on.
so
They're still
awesome.
playing like Penny in Dirty Dancing musical.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Oh,
But I think it's rare.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to not get
Yeah.
injured and
this is the thing, because it's pretty intense on the body, right? Like
Yeah.
night after night, show after
Yeah.
show.
and,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I just felt for me like it's just the effort. I think you could keep it up if you wanted to, but just that to be in a room with 20-year-olds where it's natural to have that amount of kind of ability stamina wise. It's like I could push for this, I could fight for this, but I don't think I want to. So yeah, I think it's rare.
Yeah, and it's good to know I don't want to, and also I've got other skills that I can pivot into and I want to explore, so I might as well do that.
Yeah, I mean, look at some
Yeah.
of those ballet dancers in their 50s and stuff.
Oh,
It's just like
incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of rare.
Yeah, and I think
admire
that comes from a drive of like, that is your love. I really love that you said dance was your first love, because I felt when I injured my back, it was like I had to break up with dance. It was like breaking up from a relationship that I'd had for 15 years.
Yeah.
And I cried and it was emotional, and then I made peace with it and was like, okay, music. Well, I've always done music on the side, so
Yeah.
yay for that. It's sort of a blessing. But yeah, it is like, what was the thing that you love the most about dance, like through the performance or being on those stages?
I don't know. I think it's lovely how you can move your body and create something really beautiful. It's really artistic, which is why, definitely for myself, and I think for a lot of dancers that I speak to, going to the gym or something is practical and it's useful, but it's kind of a bit boring because it's like literally paint by numbers.
boring
Like
as.
you go, you do this to get this muscle, and you just create something lovely in dance, and it creates all sorts of muscles and the stamina and. I don't know. And I think, just a live audience. And I remember kind of sitting in the wings and listening to an overture and everything and just love, and that anticipation of the show, and you can hear the audience, and that whole feeling of it is just, I don't know, it's something almost indescribable, I think.
Yeah. Do you feel like dance is sharing emotion through your body? That's sometimes how I think about it, because the music, like dance and music are so, intertwined. And I think I felt like I read somewhere recently, like dance is the physical embodiment of music, or like the emotion of music or something like that. And I thought, like, that's a really good way to put it, because inevitably with dance, it's the music or the soundscape that's driving your movement. A lot of the time, I mean, obviously there's choreographies that are silent or, to body sound.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's interesting, actually, because I feel like music moves me in a way that nothing else does. Like I see beauty in that. Just hearing a beautiful singer or beautiful instrument or someone who's just brilliant at their craft moves me. Maybe more than watching someone else dance, but at the same time there was
Right.
something amazing about it for you. But it's kind of interesting because I feel like with my dance career it was always quite regimented is the wrong word, but you know when you kind
Mm.
of do all your exams and you get told
Mm.
this is the choreography, and then you go into a show and it's set like this, and you kind
Right.
of bring a little bit of yourself, but it's kind of
Ah.
very much a little bit of yourself. And I do kind of
Yeah.
wonder maybe if you do contemporary companies or other stuff where there's much more improvisation and much more
Mm.
input, if you feel that a bit more. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's exactly it because I come from a world of dance where I've created my own company and I was sort of
Mm.
independent. I never worked for a big musical and totally different. I was talking about this recently actually with another dancer and she was reflecting on the difference between here and the US and she was saying exactly like you said, like in the UK, she feels very much like bringing your individuality isn't really celebrated here. It's very much about
Mm.
fitting in and looking the right way for the part. Whereas in the
Absolutely.
US, they really celebrate individuality, even in a chorus line. Or that was
Mm.
her experience anyway. But
No,
yeah,
I
so
agree. I
I
agree,
think
and
it's
maybe it's
interesting.
changing now. You know, I don't perform in musicals and stuff now, but I kind of watching other people. But yeah, absolutely, I think it is kind of a conformity kind of thing,
Yeah,
and if
it's
it's not broke,
interesting.
don't try and fix it a little bit. Like you fit into
Yeah.
this, and yeah, I remember in Miss Saigon we had these kind of 2 wonderful weeks of improvisation and just researching the Vietnam War, and it was really interesting because you get to hear from the American side and the Viet Cong side, which was amazing, and kind of improvising the scenes, and then it was kind of like those 2 weeks were done, and then it was kind of like stand there, look there, point here,
Right.
and
Yeah,
it's kind of like
yeah.
oh, okay, which doesn't mean that that was null and void, but most of it's not going to be used because it
Yeah.
kind of this works and this fits, and
Right.
yeah, but maybe it's a lot freer now. I don't know, but either way,
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So, did you go through a rebellious phase in your
My
teen
career.
years? Yeah,
Oh,
or
in my
at
teen years.
any point, teen years, or
No.
did you feel like you
Maybe my
no
mum would say
rebelled?
something different, and
Yeah,
I've got selective
yeah,
memory, like we were talking about like earlier. I don't
yeah.
think I did. I don't know. I don't know if I felt like I needed to, because I think my mum
Mm.
and dad were really open. You could share anything
Mm-hmm.
with them. I mean, they were strict, but I don't think I ever went through a rebellious. I think I'm quite a sensible person,
Okay.
generally.
Yeah.
Generally.
Generally.
Again, I'll probably leave and be like, "Oh my gosh, what about that was a stupid thing to do." But generally,
Yeah.
no, I don't think I was particularly rebellious, even to the point where I do think, and I kind of look at like, the wonderful kind of cast we have in Shrek right now,
Mm.
and before that I was doing Hairspray, resident director on Hairspray a few years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and these people are coming out of colleges and they kind of have their own voice now, and they
Mm.
will speak up, and they will say if something's not right, and
Right.
actually it's pretty wonderful, because I think there are times when I probably should have not rebelled necessarily, but kind of said, hang on a second, I'm not happy about that, or hang on a second, that's not right.
Yeah.
And I think it's very much of that generation, and maybe it's partly to do with my parents and stuff, that you respect your elders even if they're rude
Mm-hmm.
to you, and you kind of toe the line,
Mm-hmm.
and most of the time it's great to do that, and a show runs very smoothly when it's like that.
Mm.
But sometimes it is time to kind of go, hang on, I'm not happy about that, or
Yeah.
you shouldn't speak to me like that. And I think
Definitely.
maybe there's a few points in my career I think maybe I should have been a little bit more rebellious. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. And so after dancing, you went a bit more into acting and singing.
Mm.
And so,
So
what were you sort of doing in that
So I think the
realm?
singing was always kind of alongside it, but I think always in my core I was always like, I'm a dancer.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of dancers feel like that, and you kind of,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to really believe, am I really a singer?
Right.
And as you know, in the arts, you've got to believe in yourself. No one else is
First,
going
yeah,
to.
yeah,
So you've got,
yeah,
even if you
100%.
don't, fake it to make it, because you just got to go
Yeah.
in there and just keep your head up,
Yeah.
keep your chin held high. So yeah, I'd always done the singing alongside, and you can't, as you know, you can't be in a musical unless you can sing, and you can't dance well or sing well unless you can act. I don't think
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand. So yeah, so I started kind of doing kind of lots of commercials, and kind of I changed agents at this time. I think I was doing Matilda in the West End at this point. I kind of changed agents, and I was kind of like, I kind of want to do a bit more TV. So I started doing. I did EastEnders, and I'd done quite a few feature films, but I which is a brilliant experience. There's a lot more money in TV and film than there is in theatre, sadly.
Yes.
Um, But I'd always been a dancer in those feature films. I was just like, I just want to kind of do a bit more kind of straight acting side. So, yeah, kind of trying to, again, pivot over, still stay in the same kind of genre, but just move over slightly. And I think we're much better at allowing people to do that now. I think kind of 20 years ago, it was kind of like, you're this and you used to stay in this box.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if you look at the Americans, and we're getting a little bit better now, and I have some Americans on my agency books, and they're kind of like, I can do this, 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 and this. And there's nothing bad about that. They're kind of proud about that. Whereas I think sometimes in this country, we're kind of like, oh, you can do those 5 things. Well, you're not going to be good at all of them. And it's like, well, actually, some people really are.
Yeah.
So I think I guess it's about using all the skills that you're kind of accumulating and swapping them around or moving sideways or I don't know. And I think that's probably a little bit easier now, probably.
Yeah. So is there one that you sort of enjoy more than others? Like if you had to choose one, like singing, dancing or acting, would there be one that you're like, okay, I'm going to just
I think, you know, my favourite times were probably doing, you know, parts in a musical where you get to sing and dance together. That's probably always going to be. And a live audience. You know, I loved doing the films and stuff I did and the TV stuff. But there's something about that immediate kind of response and the high, the adrenaline rush that you get from it. And I think, I don't know, that can't really be beaten, I think. So I think that will always be my first love. Like I loved being in a play and by then, you know, that suited me really well for where I was at in my life. But I think if I look back at the absolute highs in my life, it was, you know, a live audience and a part. I think the last musical I did was In the Heights, which is I'm going to forget his name. Thingy Manuel, who wrote Hamilton. Do you know who I mean?
No, I don't. But I've seen Hamilton. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, so rude. I can't remember his name. But anyway, massively famous. It will come to me. And that was my last jobs. And it's kind of petrifying and you're kind of scared. And I had this kind of like solo in Act 2. I had to be really angry. And but there's something quite nice about the fear as well. That kind of... And with what I do now, it's more safe. So I get to do all the admin side of it and the kind of... You know, speak to the cast and try and encourage them and give notes and stuff, but I don't get the adrenaline rush that you get with performing.
Yeah,
I think I'll miss that, but I don't think I miss it enough to go back. I mean, never say die, but I don't think I'll do a musical again. Cut to next week, auditioning for a musical.
Here she is featuring in.
yeah. She said, yeah.
I love that. So, can you tell me a bit about your creative process, like through all the performing that you've done? Is there like a certain practice or like something that you've leaned on, you know, even if it's like stretching or just like before a show, do you have like a specific creative practice that's like helped you through all the times and, you know, particularly like the ups and downs? Because as we know in entertainment, it's like you never know when the next thing is.
I think in terms of rituals or anything like that, no. I think there's 2 parts to that question for me. So I think for me, I have a faith. I'm a Christian, so I think just a faith in something bigger than myself, and what goes along with that is just knowing that things are going to work out. Because I think in the short term, it's really hard being a performer. There's just the constant rejection, and I think, you know, as dancers, as performers, you can get rejected more times in a year than people do in their entire life.
Yeah.
And so just to keep going and to keep picking yourself up and just keep persevering. And it's, for me, it was great to have something outside of myself that I believed in and had faith in. And I think when you get to the end of yourself, what's left kind of thing. So for me, that was something that's helped me through my entire life in every single way. And just like I said, just knowing things are going to work out. And they might not work out today or in the way, I know we spoke about this earlier, in the way you think it's going to work out. But eventually it's going to work out. So there's that. And then I think also the things I learnt along the way, and again, maybe it's a naivety, just in a practical sense, was I met a friend of mine on Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and he was playing the lead of Joseph. He had this incredible voice, and we became really good friends on that tour. And I remember him saying to me, like, before every audition, he warms up for like half an hour, and I remember thinking, I don't warm up at all. And it was just like a really weird, silly learning curve, thinking, well, this person's amazing and they do half an hour warm up. I'm not amazing and I'm doing nothing. And it's kind of that realization that sometimes I think we all think that the people who are amazing, amazingly talented in this life, they wake up and they're just brilliant.
Yeah.
And then you find out actually, no, they have worked and worked and worked on that, and they've put the hours in, they've put the time in, and they didn't just show
It's not
up.
magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me that was a real like, oh my gosh. And so from then I started, warming up, or you get to your auditions early and you stretch,
Yeah.
or if it's an acting thing, like research the director and research the play and read more than just your side, and putting those extra kind of things in, which for some people are obvious, and for me at that time it kind of wasn't. And so I feel like I learnt something that was quite important, that would hold me in good stead for my career, that don't just rock up and think
Yeah.
you're enough, because maybe emotionally spiritually you're enough, but in terms of talent wise there's 30 other people who've done a half an hour warm up and you haven't.
Yeah, and who've researched the character. On that note, did you like how in depth? Because acting is such an interesting art form, and I know there's lots of different methods, and what sort of school of thought or approach maybe do you come from with acting? Like, do you really delve into a character, or did you? Because I know you said you're not necessarily acting anymore, but yeah, what was your sort of approach when you were given a new character? How did you go about that?
I am one of those people that likes to kind of delve in. I've read some interesting books about this, about method acting and stuff, and I think David Mamet, director and writer, has kind of said whatever works for you. So for some people it works to research the whole history, and for
Yeah,
other
that's
people
right.
it's kind of like, no, this is what's on the page.
Just
That's
feels-
all. Yeah, this is what the writer's given me. That's all I need. So I think whatever works. But I kind of quite like to be, so for example, if I'm teaching the understudies on a musical, then I make sure I do my research. Particularly, I'll give Hairspray is a really good example, because it's set in Baltimore, and a lot of the stuff around the story, even though it's kind of quite fun, and there's a lot of really important elements in there which really happened, and important parts of history that you can't kind of just gloss over. So it's good for kind of me to look at those and research those, and kind of talk to the cast about what these things, particularly with the race issues in Hairspray, it's super important to kind of go, we're not just holding banners and walking around, this is actually really happened. It's super important. And also just even on a less of a level perhaps, certain words in the script, and you kind of go, what's that? And I think I'm going to need to research all of those, so the cast go, what's that? I have an answer, kind of thing. Just doing that research has helped me, not just as an actor, but even what I'm doing now as a resident director. It's kind of important to kind of have the information for other people as well.
Absolutely.
And there are times you get put on the spot and you don't know the answer, and I think that's okay too. But I quite like to be like prepared. It's interesting to find out, the history of this and this character, and what do they do, and I'm not one of those people that I read about. I understand why people do it. I've heard about actors like having a certain perfume for their character.
Like really,
or a certain soundtrack. This is what this person looks. But I think if it makes you Leonardo DiCaprio, then why not? Amazing.
Yeah, I was thinking Heath Ledger. I remember reading about him really being like that on The Joker, and that sort of potentially, who knows, but led to his spiral downwards.
Yeah.
Has there been a musical that's been your favourite to perform in?
Yeah, there's one musical I wanted to do all my life, which was West Side Story, which I did do, and I just always loved Bernstein, and the music to West Side Story is just incredible. And so I think I did that when I was 26, I think, for Paul Kerrison at Leicester Haymarket, which is no longer Leicester Haymarket, it's the Curve now. We have the Curve Theatre now, but that was like a dream to do that. And
ticked,
yeah,
career
mentally,
achievement,
ticked off.
Yeah,
it's weird how life works out there, because I remember seeing Miss Saigon when I was 17, and then being in it 4 years later. It's kind of funny how things come full circle sometimes. So,
yeah. Do you believe like in the power of thought and manifestation and all that sort of world? I mean, I guess you could tie it in with faith as well.
Yeah. I think yes. I don't believe in The Secret and stuff and that sort of side of it, but I definitely think there's something in the Bible about write the vision, make it clear, that will tarry, it will come to pass. Like put down those things you kind of would like, and that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get it every time, but there's something weird, isn't there? That
I think that power of focusing on something, even if it's like you said, like you really wanted to do West Side Story, and just if that's always in your thoughts, I feel like sometimes there is a way that your brain figures out a way to lead you in that direction.
You work towards that, and you work towards that. And Yeah, 'cause I guess it'd be weird to want to do West Side Story and never take a dance or a singing lesson. That would
Yeah,
be,
that would be weird.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's just like a pipe dream, like wanting to be an
yeah,
astronaut. I'm like, okay, I'm never going to do physics or,
yeah,
go to
yeah,
NASA,
yeah,
but I want to,
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I think you're right. There's something
yeah.
interesting about that. Yeah.
There is. Yeah. Do you think musicals attract a certain kind of person? Like, because
Oh,
obviously
that's a
you've
good
been in a
question.
lot.
I don't know. I think the arts attracts a certain sort of person.
Yeah.
Maybe we're masochists. I don't know. I think just all the rejection and the, going to college and getting, all the criticism, and you get broken down to nothing. And
Yeah. Then you rebuild and
yeah,
do it all again.
yeah. I think that definitely takes a certain sort of person. And I think
Character.
within that first year of graduating, people can tell if it's for them or not.
Yeah.
The amount of
Yeah.
people who leave and they're just like, this is just not for
100%.
me.
Yeah.
And I think, and I say that to the people on my agency and stuff, and I just think, you just have to keep going.
Mm.
And I absolutely understand if people want to give up as well, just even just financially and the ups
Yeah.
and downs and I
Totally.
absolutely get that. But it's kind of interesting that the people who stick with it, that the highs are worth the lows. I used to call it feast or famine, because you get loads of money for a job, but then you might not work for 3 months or
Yeah,
a
yeah.
year, or so it's so up and down. So I think that definitely attracts a certain sort of person.
Yeah.
But I also think performers are kind of spoiled in a way. I think generally people started doing it at quite a young age, and it was a hobby. And then they get older, and like I said, we get you get paid for this hobby, and it's amazing, and you love it. But I also know dancers and stuff who find it really hard to find anything else afterwards, because they love that thing so much, and it's such a big part of your identity from a really young age. So when it goes, like, who are you and what do you do from that? And I know so many people who struggle, and that's why I was I was thinking for a long time, what shall I do? What shall I do? What shall I do? I want to stay in this, but what shall I do? What shall I do? And it's really difficult. And I think a lot of people in the world kind of do a job and they look forward to the weekend and they hate their job. But, you do this job for 40 years of your life. It's like a long time.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yeah. Definitely. I think I think a lot of performers would definitely feel that. I mean, I come from a world of circus as well, and I'm just thinking it's definitely a discipline where, because it's so tightly linked with cabaret and and then you have sideshow theatre and stuff, so you see a lot more older performers. But I do sometimes wonder, like, how people will be lost if they can't do it anymore, or they can't. Yeah, it's interesting. So when did you pivot over into directing? Like, was that something you sort of always thought, I'd like to have a hand in that, or how did that sort of happen?
I think that goes back to what we were talking about before. I remember my friend's friend was a resident director, and he's still a resident director. He's doing really well. But I remember for a second just thinking, oh, I wonder what that would be like, and then dismissing the thought.
Right.
And then I think it was 5 years ago, the director I mentioned earlier, Paul Kerrison, that I did West Side Story for, and I ended up doing, five shows for him. Just a brilliant, lovely man. He just called me out of the blue and said, would you come and be resident director on Hairspray for me? And I was just like, and sometimes an opportunity comes along and it's that feel the fear and do it anyway kind of thing, like, oh my gosh, I don't know, could I do it? Anyway, I did it, and I really enjoyed it. And it just seems to have flown. It just seemed to have the door just seems to have opened since then. It's kind of weird. So it was, I guess, it's not something I dreamt about doing. It's not something I just actually had a thought one day, and then an opportunity came along. I think I just jumped on it, basically. So
I love that.
yeah. Yeah, I wish my dance career had been quite as easy. With people just going, oh, do you want to come and do that? Oh, yeah, great.
Yeah. I'll be there.
Yeah.
So did you feel like you had to learn things kind of as you were going on that first job then? Or was it familiar territory? Because obviously that's your domain, musicals. So you're just on the other side of the camera, if you will, I guess, the other side of the stage.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. And I don't know, you get to a time in your life when you have been on one side of the fence, I suppose. So, being a performer for 20 years and having many, many directors and stuff. And then, so like you said, it's just the other side of the coin. I do think there's things I learned for sure. And it's particularly difficult year when we did Hairspray, because it was just coming out of COVID. So we were going out on tour, just, we were still getting pinged by track and trace in rehearsals and stuff. It's quite tumultuous, but I don't know. There's definitely things I learned, and I think the biggest lesson I've learned over the last 5 years with doing the resident directing is just how much every human being needs encouragement,
Mm.
even if they're famous or even if they're the lead. We all need to be told we're appreciated
doing
and
a
we're
good
good
job.
and thank you. And me and my friend always say, even Stevie Wonder needs to be told he's brilliant, because you're
Yeah.
only as good as last week or yesterday or the job
Yeah.
before.
Mm.
So I think that's something I've try and keep in mind, that because it's kind of really easy to come, I've got these notes and this is wrong and this is wrong and this, and you say it as nicely as possible, but you're still kind of picking fault. So I think that's definitely something I can improve on as well, like saying thank you and just encouraging people without being fake, because I think that's not helpful. Telling people lies, or that's no
Yeah, or
good to
being
anyone.
disingenuous, or
Yeah.
coming across disingenuous, blowing
Yeah.
smoke up their ass,
Yeah.
basically.
But genuine encouragement and genuine, well done, that was great. I think it just goes so far, I think. And I think the other thing, and I try and do this with the agency as well, is be the agent or be the director that I would have liked.
Yeah.
Because I think I've had some, I've got a brilliant agent, I've had some brilliant agents, and I've had some not so good agents. And you can pick stuff from both and go, okay, what did I like about this, and what can I use, and what can I definitely not be or sound like, or speak to people in a certain way. This is okay. Let's reject that and go with the good people. So I think trying to put yourself in other people's shoes, which obviously actors are good at, and having the empathy of that, I think.
Definitely. Yeah, it's really interesting. I think I've read recently, I'm pretty sure it was Stevie Wonder, actually, who played at Obama's, the ceremony, inauguration, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And, even I think he messed up or something and had to start again. And it's
Oh
always
my
really humbling
gosh.
hearing those stories, because
Yeah. She's like, you're
because
Stevie
it's true.
Wonder.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
people bow down, like I would.
Yeah.
So it's really, I think that's something that never goes away for creative types, like especially for performers. There's always, even I think like famously Amy Winehouse, she'd sing this incredible like run and, take a recording, and then she'd be like, is that okay? Like, was that all right? You just think like,
Yeah, Amy Winehouse.
with that voice. Yeah, like seriously.
I know.
Yeah,
I remember hearing
crazy.
a story about Dame Judi Dench saying she still feels like she's an imposter sometimes. Like someone's going to tap her on the shoulder and go, you shouldn't be here. And it's like,
yeah.
you're Dame Judi Dench. What do you mean? It's like, okay, well, if she feels that and she's, an older lady, then, of course we're all going to feel like that. So I guess it's just kind of trying to push past that. But I do think encouraging people goes a long way.
Yeah, I agree, because I teach in a music university, and I do think that's one of the biggest parts of my role, is to be there to encourage and actually be their biggest cheerleader. Like, yes, especially, when you're young and it's new and you think like, well, how am I going to get into the industry, or like it feels very overwhelming. And as a teacher, I feel like my main role, more than like passing on information or skill, is actually to just be like, you can do this. Like, go and do it,
But don't you think one of the nicest things about teaching in any kind of aspect or way, or even doing, what I'm doing currently, is when you see a child or a student or even an adult just kind of improve and come so far because you've believed them and other people have believed in them, and then they've believed in themselves, and you can see a different person in the end of the year in terms of their confidence and their skill set, and just because they were encouraged, and to have someone say I believe in you, I think it's a really big deal, and it's just one of the most rewarding things I think about teaching, or
hands down. It's
being
powerful,
a director.
like, to watch, and that's what I love about teaching. Like, I've always taught alongside performing, in dance before, and exactly as you say, like, that's what I like about it. Because it's rewarding to see someone improve.
So you get those child who's really shy, like I was a shy child, or sometimes I've taught children with special needs and stuff, and drama has brought them out of themselves or given them a fresh confidence, and it's just so wonderful to see. And I think it's kind of interesting how sometimes the arts can kind of be pushed to a side, or it's not as important. And I absolutely get, maths is important. I still need to use maths, and I'm terrible at it. I get it. I get why we do it. But someone like you said, being able to express themselves through dance or song or a poem, or their acting, and how that can change their personality and how they come across is just amazing.
Yeah. You were saying you were shy as a child. Do you remember? Was there a certain point that, obviously the dancing or the acting maybe helped you come out of your skin? Like, do you remember when you sort of were like, oh, I'm not so shy anymore? Or
I don't remember thinking I'm not so shy, but I just remember thinking I love this so much, I'm going to keep persevering. And I think also what was interesting was we went to a dance school where it was kind of you do the ballet and the tap, and then modern you do your exams. But then I went to something which was like a more performing arts kind of thing in my hometown, my brother and I. And it was kind of, it wasn't about technique, it was about tap and song and dance. And that side brought out the love in me. And that side, even though I was shy, made me forget the shyness because I loved that
Because you're having fun.
so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I was having fun and my friends did it, and we'd look forward to rehearsing all weekend and stuff, and it's a great way to place your energy if you're a child. Do you know what I mean? Do something active with your friends, and so I think that's what helped me more than anything. But I can still be shy sometimes. I think it's amazing that people who come across confident and performers can be like, oh, I'm quite shy actually, and people are like, what?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I get that all the time because
Yeah.
I was painfully shy as a kid. I found it hard to make friends, and you see me now, you wouldn't think, because I go to things on my own and I find it easy to strike up conversation, but at the same time I also get very socially awkward sometimes and just like run away. Like I feel like
It's a lot sometimes I think, my husband does kind of PR and kind of politics and stuff, and he's really comfortable like talking to a room of 400 people, and I think that would be my nightmare. I'd much rather sing a song to 400 people and be a character than be myself. So it's kind of funny how we can be performers, but there's still aspects of that performing that we feel uncomfortable with. But again, I think it's that fake it to make it. You have to kind of just, like you said, strike up conversations, go to stuff on your own. And I go to stuff on my own now I wouldn't dream of doing when I was 21. There's no way. I'd have to call my friend, can I meet you there?
Yeah.
And now I'm like, no, like you said, to go up and strike a conversation, because there's other people who feel shy as well, or awkward as well.
Definitely. I think particularly younger people, though I've always sort of been like that because my shyness at school, meant that I was sort of like bullied, and I got very used to like hanging out on my own a lot, like going, that's why I went to things on my own. But it's interesting. I love that art can do that too, like bring people out of their shell. Like I think it's such a healthy thing, and just to be able to love something so much that it gives you that benefit. It's
I just feel
beautiful.
really blessed that my parents allowed my brother and I to kind of explore that kind of that side of ourselves, and to sacrifice so much to have all these lessons, and and I suppose if we'd got to 18 and both gone, okay, that was fun, now let me be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer, they would have supported that as well. But it's amazing to have the freedom, and it's really expensive, and I think that's what I'm saying, it's a sacrifice. Like my parents went without a lot, we didn't come from money or anything, but I think my mum not being able to do what she loved meant she was like, okay, I want you and your brother to have that chance, which is
and she would have
amazing.
got like joy out of seeing you fulfill
She's
something
actually called
that
Joy as well.
Oh, is she?
But yes, absolutely.
It would have been amazing for her to see you thrive in the domain that she sort of dreamt about, I suppose.
Oh my gosh, my mum and dad are so proud.
Yeah, I bet. That's amazing. I love that. So as a woman in entertainment, what's your take just on, I don't know if we could speak in general terms, but what's your experience been like, particularly from a woman's perspective? Like what challenges have you faced, or have you ever felt there's been times where, if I was a man, this would be different, or anything like that? Or maybe it's been positive too.
It's interesting. I've been thinking about this more the last year. But it's interesting. Like I look back at my career, and there's been times when I look back and hindsight's wonderful, and think, oh, did that happen maybe because I'm female? Did that happen maybe because of the colour of my skin? Yeah. I generally, my first thought is always, oh, this is happening because you and I don't get on. So that's the first thing I go for, rather than any other kind of reasons why this relationship might not be working or this situation isn't working. So generally, no, I feel like I can hold my own quite well, and I actually like men's company and the banter from men. I think sometimes there is a time when there's, and I have this, even now, there's lots of men in a room and you need to have your voice heard kind of thing, and it's kind of, you don't want to shout, and I don't shout, but I'm thinking, God, I'm going to have to work really hard to kind of
get everyone's
be
attention.
heard here. But I've only thought about that the last year, and I think that's not just to do with the job I do. I think that's where we are politically in the world as well, and what we're thinking about a lot more than we did before, and the kind of diversity and equality that we're looking for now is, we're in a different place.
Era.
So but I try not to look for kind of problems. I try and look for the kind of solutions to stuff, but it is something that's been on my mind a little bit, a
Yeah.
bit more.
Do you see, like, amongst your actors, more of a sisterhood feeling between particularly the female cast, or is it like competitive? Because you know how society just loves to pit women against each other. And I
Yeah.
think it's often the case, particularly in ensemble, casts. Or is there more of a sisterhood? Because I know a feeling I get from just the students I teach music at, the young adults, around 20-year-old, but they're so supportive of each other. It's actually so beautiful. Like, I don't feel like they're in competition. They're actually very much about like sustaining and holding space for each other, which I think is, I don't feel like it was like that when I was 20.
That's so good to hear. I think that's really encouraging. But
Yeah.
interestingly, this cast are brilliant, and for the most part, they all get on brilliantly, and they all support each other. And bearing in mind, I'm a little bit, I'm not in the dressing room every day, but it appears to me they're all super supportive of each other, and encouraging, and not jealous, and a win for you is a win for me. It's just so lovely to see.
Was it like that for you when you were coming up?
Yeah, I don't remember it being. It is competitive, and I think there's something really selfish about being a dancer or a performer, because it has to be, in that audition, it has to be all about you, and you're fighting for something, and there's not many parts, and that has to be competitive, otherwise you're not gonna
Make it.
get anywhere. But I think as soon as you come out the room, you can leave that behind and be supportive. But and maybe this is what we were talking about before about selective memory. I can't remember any particularly dressing rooms where, I don't know. I think in any job there's always one person.
Yeah,
And they always say if there's not one, it's you. So there's always
you
one
just don't
person.
realise it, but everybody else does.
Yeah, it's you. Yeah. So I think there's always one. But generally, I think maybe it's about finding your clique or your tribe, or the people that you kind of want to be and you feel safe with. And I was really blessed in some ways because I worked with 2 or 3 of my friends quite consistently.
Awesome.
So you kind of go in feeling safe already, because you've got those people that are really your friends. And I try and say this to people on tour now or on jobs now, that everyone gets on really well, which is great, but at the moment they still are colleagues. You don't really know if they're going to be your friends until you finish the job. Are you still going to be friends in 5 years' time? Or and then when you know those people are really for you, that's so nice to go into a job with just 1 or 2 of those people around you. But I don't remember it being particularly bitchy, or I don't know.
Yeah. No,
And sometimes it depends on the job, doesn't it? Sometimes you have a great group of people, sometimes everyone just doesn't
the dynamic
gel.
just
Yeah.
No, that's great to hear, because I feel like there's also certain disciplines that maybe attracts a bit more, like, just thinking in some of the world of cabaret that I was in, there was definitely like a lot of bitchiness between the girls, and this really competitive, but it was like everyone was a solo performer. And but anyway, that's another world.
I've kind of heard, and I wouldn't want to comment because I haven't done it myself. I hardly done any commercial stuff, but I kind of always would hear that in the commercial world it can be quite cliquey and quite hard. If you're the new person, it's quite hard to kind of infiltrate that. But it's not really a world I know about, so I should probably shut up.
No, but it's good. But I think it's so important to hear the positive sides. Like, I do ask that question to everyone, because I feel like that, and it could be just the generation that I'm from, because I do said, like, I'm encouraged by the younger generation. I do feel like they're much better than it was when we were coming up. But I do feel like there was so much more a societal, like, just like I said before, the way that women are sort of pitted against each other to be competitive. Like in the music industry, they're really like pitting, and actresses, they're fighting and all of this, and it's such rubbish, because actually when you talk to the women who are involved in those industries, the majority not like that.
No.
Actually, the majority super supportive, super happy for, that other woman got the part. I didn't, like, honestly, just through talking to people, that's been the vibe, which is so important for me to feel like I want that to get out there, to realize actually the real industry, women are for other women. We're not for pitting each other against each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that comes from an insecurity inside anyway, doesn't it? If that
Absolutely.
does occur. Because as you get older, you do realise, not being in my 20s now and being in my 40s now, is that it's okay to be happy for other people. Like, those opportunities will come for you later or in a different way, but you're probably going to get a good crack at the whip. And I also think it's like trying to think of everything. like God has things for people abundantly. It's not just like, oh, you've got the job, therefore there's never going to be a
Nothing.
job for me in
Yeah.
that arena or that field. It's like, no, it's abundant. There's stuff for you.
Yeah.
It just might not be in the time frame you're expecting, but
That's
it's
a
just,
really good lesson for everyone to
yeah,
learn, right?
yes,
Like just not in
yes,
your expected
yes,
time and
yeah,
at when you want it to happen,
yeah.
but in other ways. Yeah.
It will,
I
yeah,
love that.
it will come. So just to kind of be encouraging and be supportive, because also that's how you want them to be for you as well. Do you know what I mean? When your
Exactly.
time comes, you want those people to be like, well done, you deserve that, and how
Yeah.
wonderful. And I think it's important to surround yourself with people like that. But
100%.
generally, this cast is amazing. They are generous in their time with each other, off stage and on stage. So
Yeah.
super blessed with that. And I don't know how it
That's
works out.
awesome.
Why does
Yeah.
that happen? I've no idea. But it just,
Yeah.
it's great.
Ah, that's awesome. So tell me a bit about your agency. When did you set that up?
So madly, I set that up in COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a weird thing as well. So I was kind of saying for ages, like, I feel like I should be doing something else. I should be doing something else. What is it? What is it? What is it? And
So what happened for you, just sorry to backtrack, at the start of COVID? Were you like signed on as a performer or director in a show? Like how did that sort of stop for you? Like what were you doing?
So that was a blessing in the fact that I had been temping like on and off at a company in Mayfair for 7 years. And they'd been amazing to me, and they kind of said, if you can go to all your auditions, when you get jobs, you can go and come back. So I'd go off for 6 months and do a contract and come back. And it was just,
Awesome.
every audition I ever wanted to go to, they agreed to. And sometimes I remember thinking, well, they're saying yes now, but if I have 3 in a week, this is going to be annoying.
Yeah.
And it was annoying, but they kept their word. And so
Wow.
actually when we got to COVID, I'd been working for them. So I got paid all through COVID through that company. So it was like, yeah, it was amazing. But I think there's something in that time where you kind of, everything stopped and you had time to think. And one of my close friends had said to me, you should be an agent, like you've had lots of experience and you're organised. And I was kind of like, no. And then weirdly I had a dream about being an agent, and I was like, and then the COVID came and I was like, let me have a think. And so actually it's actually a really good time to set up an agency, because there's lots of red tape and there's lots of kind of behind the scenes and lots of admin things to do before you even start. And so it was a great time to kind of get all that together when the world had slowed down, so there was no rush or final deadline. And I think even now with the agency, I have the same ambitions I had when I was performing and starting out, that I want it to be, a big hit. I want it to be successful, and I want it to be big, and I want it to be well known and all those kinds of things. But I'm also in no rush. It doesn't have to be tomorrow, i.e. I'm not compromising who I have on the agency and the people and all those things just to get to a certain number by a certain time. So if it goes kind of slow and steady, I think that's absolutely fine, because it's what's the phrase? It's a marathon, not a sprint. So
yeah,
is that the right way around? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
yeah.
sounds right.
Yeah, sounds all right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's another weird thing where I hadn't really. It's not like I've been thinking for 20 years I wanted to be an agent. It was just a weird, a friend suggested, then I have a dream, and then I'm like, okay, I'll. And I think with anything like that, any dream people have is that it's just putting one foot in front of the other and just doing little tiny steps, and before you know it, you're like, oh my gosh, I've got an agency.
Yeah. One foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
So what does your agency do? Or who's it for?
Pardon?
Who's it for?
So it's a talent agency, and it's for performers in stage or screen, so theatre, TV, film, all of those things.
Is it all across all performers, or is it specifically actors, or do you
Across
do
all
everyone?
performers? Yeah. And so I had like a musical director who was going to join, and I've had, just commercial dancers, and I think I don't have those kind of wings to the agency yet, but that's something that I hope to kind of diversify and have those kind of sections. But I think I want to be the agent that I would have wanted, and so you can't spread yourself too thin. There's only one of me. I have my directing job 3 or 4 days a week, so it's focusing on the people I have at the moment, and it's really healthy size at the moment. It's going really well. It's just getting really busy. Like the last 4 months, I'm like, oh gosh, this is really racking up, but it's going really well. So I have straight actors, just dancers, dancer singers, actor singers, the whole actor musicians.
Shebang.
Yeah. Everything.
That's amazing. What's it called again?
It's called Atomic 79.
Where does the name come from?
So Atomic 79 is one of the elements that makes up pure gold.
Oh wow.
I don't know how I came to that name. I don't know how I discovered that. But there's two
Yeah.
elements that make up Pure Gold, and Atomic 79's one of
Oh,
them. And
that's
also, I
cool.
wanted an agency where I didn't want it to be like Juliet Gough, or only not because I don't like my name, but just
Yeah.
because there's lots of agencies which are
The,
two surnames,
yeah.
and so I wanted
Oh
something that stood
yeah.
out a little bit, so people kind of
Yeah.
remember, because it's a little bit unusual. So
Yeah. I also like that Atomic is like the balm. You know, like
yeah,
the atomic balm. Like it's the
absolutely,
balm
yeah,
agency. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, very, very cool. Um, okay, so this is always a big question, and I always feel sometimes it's a funny question to ask, but do you have any regrets?
Career wise,
Or personally?
on a big scale, no.
Mm-hmm.
On a small scale, yes. Personally, oh yeah, definitely. People you could have treated better, or people you could have apologised to earlier, definitely.
Yeah.
But I guess I do think everything kind of works out as it's meant to
Yeah.
eventually. Career wise, no. But I do wish, when I look back, that I had perhaps been more confident,
Mm-hmm.
or, like I said to you before, like stood out for myself sometimes. There's not many
Mm-hmm.
incidences. I think sometimes it's actually good to sometimes keep quiet, and things will work out. But there's a
Mm.
few instances I think, oh, I should have liked myself a bit more. I shouldn't have allowed that
Mm.
behaviour, or I shouldn't have allowed that creative person to speak to me
Mm.
like that in front of everyone. You know, the little things
Mm-mm.
like that. I think
Mm.
I wouldn't say I've properly been bullied, but there's a few instances where there's, if a particular show where I think, gosh, that wasn't great the way I was spoken to, and not just
Mm.
myself but other people.
Mm.
And
Mm.
um, but do I regret it? I don't know. Sometimes there's something quite beautiful sometimes about keeping your own counsel, and
Mm.
just kind of a class to that sometimes. Do you know what I mean? An
Mm.
elegance sometimes to just
Mm.
being like, okay, you've come at me a certain way, and I'm going to come back with, okay, thank you, yeah.
Mm.
So I think there's kind of sticking up for yourself, but there's also that kind of, I'm just going to get my head down and,
There's
and
no
get
need
on
to
with it.
engage, like to
Yeah,
sort of go to that
yeah,
level. Yeah.
yeah. But nothing major springs to mind. I'm sure there's things I probably said no to and should have said yes to, and vice
Yeah.
versa.
Yeah.
And,
Always.
or if I knew then what I knew, those kind of
Mm-mm.
things. So I have regret I didn't do Chicago, the musical. I'd have loved to have done that, but that was out of my
Yeah.
hands. So,
Right.
but yeah,
Yeah.
there's always the one that got away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Of
was the
course.
show that got away.
Yeah. What have been some of your personal struggles like through being a performer? Because I think people are interested in hearing from people who have, like for lack of a better way of saying it, but like managed to sustain themselves in a career
Mm,
in entertainment for such a long time. I think they always find it interesting to hear what are struggles that you faced and that you conquered, and
yeah,
that made you stronger or able to
I
be
think I
still
think
standing.
lack of money sometimes. Like I say, it was famine or feast. Like I look back and go, oh my gosh, I was so broke then. And then the next year, like, oh, I've had a great year. And then next year, I'm so broke.
Yeah.
Kind of going through those kind of times. And weirdly, I don't feel like I actually went without anything. I think everything's relative. It depends who you compare yourself to, I suppose. But,
Mm.
I just got to go on holiday, and it was always like an awful hotel in the Canaries. But I got
Mm-hmm.
to go on
Yeah.
holiday
Yeah.
somehow. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I found a way to do it, kind of thing. But I
Yeah.
don't know if I'd changed that, because I knew I wanted to persevere. So
Mm.
I think it's only like 5% of actors ever really make it, and it's kind of,
Mm-mm.
the numbers are really low. And I know that everyone
Mm.
comes out of college thinking, I'm going to make it, because I was one of them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you come out and not think that, it's kind of like, oh, well, what are
Then
you
you
doing? You've
won't
got to
last
believe in
5
yourself.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to believe in yourself.
Mm.
Um, so I think that's been a personal struggle. Just sometimes self-doubt, I think, which people
Mm.
have. And I think, is there a way to combat that? Again, just keep going. And I suppose just sharpen the tools. So if you're worried about that song, go and get the singing lessons. If you're worried about your voice, go and do that. If
Mm.
you're worried about, I don't know, your technique bit not going good, then go to the ballet club. I think there's ways you can do as much as you can do within your control to make yourself better, or try and combat some of those things. But
Mm.
generally, though, I think it's a brilliant life being a performer.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely hardships and difficulties, and yeah, it's a lot, but if you can kind of keep going and not take things personally,
Personally.
it's a brilliant
Mm.
career. And I think I actually learned that early on in my career. Like my first job, I remember thinking as I came out of college, like, oh, I've got this job because I'm brilliant and I look right and da-da-da. Which kind of sounds arrogant, but again, you've got to leave
But you
college
have to.
thinking something.
You honestly have to think
Yeah,
like
and as
that.
much as I think I was brilliant, there's loads of other things I think I was terrible at. But anyway, I mean, when I was in Miss Saigon, I was the worst singer in that whole show. Like, the singers in that show are just unbelievable. But anyway, I think they got me on my dance, and my dance was excellent at the time. But I remember that I fitted the costume of the person who did it before. And not only did I fit the costume, and not only was the same height, people say to me, oh my gosh, you look like X who did your part before you.
Right.
And I kind of realised that, yes, it's 50% talent. You've got to be good. But the other kind of 50% is so many other things other than you. And so actually, I learned a lesson which was important to me, maybe, that yes, you've got to be talented, but there's other things that are kind of come into this that mean you get the job that someone else doesn't. And for this one, you fit the costume, you look like the other girl, blah, blah, blah. So then that takes a bit of your ego away a little bit, because it kind of goes, oh, it's not just because I'm the most amazing thing in the world. It's because, I don't know, something
Right
really
time, right
base,
place.
like the director fancied me. You'll get the job because of that.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, there's so many different reasons, but I think it's quite good to learn early on. And then if you learn that lesson early on, you also can't take it personally when you don't get it, because yes, that bit of your talent didn't get it, but the other bit is you didn't quite fit the jigsaw. Or
Yeah, exactly. You didn't have the right look, or
Yeah.
your voice wasn't quite what they wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many
and they
factors.
went with this other person just because, I don't know, they've got a different agent, they might be cheaper. Like, it's other things other than just you. So I think for me, it's such a blessing to learn that accidentally at the age of 21, because then I think it helped me persevere, because I kind of go, do you know what? People keep saying it's not personal. It feels personal because it's you, but there's so many other factors that lead to you getting that job.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So what advice would you give to someone who's, and I guess you do this through your agency, but someone who's sort of up and coming, or maybe just out of college? Like, firstly, obviously, like you've just said, you need to have the skill, but what advice would you impart onto them, like how to maybe conduct yourself, or what you should focus on going out into the world of acting and musicals? And
Yeah, exciting world. I think there's two things, actually. And one of them is that you will never probably be as good technically as you are when you first leave college. And the longer that gap gets, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, and if you haven't worked, that's fine. You know, if you're talented and you'll persevere, the door will open. But it's so important to sharpen your skills. So I think, you know, if you leave a dance college and then not do a dance class for 2 years, it's kind of mad, because you're going to be competing with all the people who are already in a show and their stamina's excellent and their confidence they're in a show, and you're going to be competing with all the people coming out of college and they are as sharp as a tack because they've had, you know, 5 lessons a day of dance or whatever it is. So I think just to keep investing in yourself and keep going and having those singing lessons and having the dance lessons and going to improv class, and also being around other people who are in the profession. I think it's really easy when someone's, you know, left college or whatever for whatever amount of time, and they go and work in a bar and do the things that we all need to do because those bills, you know, aren't going to pay themselves. But after a while, I think you can start feeling like you're not, like you're a fraud. Like, okay, I'm not a dancer because I'm working in a bar. I'm not. And it's like, no, you are. But this is a means to an end, and to surround yourself with other people who are in the arts still. So that kind of excitement rubs off on you, and that identity of the arts, you know, you're still part of it somehow, and also hearing, because people would say, oh, this is coming up, I think, or that's coming up, and it's really important to have your ear to the ground and know this is coming up, and speak to your agent about it and ask your agent, or, you know, try and get in the room, or so there's that side. I think just, you know, making sure those skills stay sharp. And I think the other side is just to be a really good company member, like whatever company you're in, dance company, a drama company, you know, a play, whatever, is to, you know, be on time, be polite. I think we've all seen those people in the industry that speak to the director like, and they speak to the dresser or someone like they're dirt, and it's just like,
unacceptable.
it's just unacceptable. And I try and make sure with my agency that I take people on who are excellent on stage and off, because I feel like you're representing my agency and me, and I don't want to have people who treat one person one way and are rude to someone else. It's just like that. And what I've learned is that people remember. Like, people have called me up for opportunities and stuff because they remember me from 20 years ago, and so the way you behave when you're 21, 22, and, you know, even when you're 42, people remember those kind of things. And and I always say to my people on my agency, if it's between you and someone else and you're both kind of this amount of talent, you're going to go for the one that's the good person, because
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
wants to work with people who are
Yeah.
enthusiastic and kind
Yeah.
and professional. And so
Mm.
I think people can think it's all about this side of the camera and this side of performing. It's like, no, it's about this side as well. It's about just
Yeah.
being a decent human being and treating people
So
nicely.
much. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm always tempted to say as equally as
Mm.
important, because
Mm.
in this industry, you know, in all the entertainment industries, really they're all very small, because you quickly
So
get
small.
to know
So small.
everyone, you
Yeah.
know, everyone who's doing something, everyone who's putting something on. So you can't afford to be an asshole.
You can't.
You know, like that doesn't go far.
You can't.
Like it's rare that you have the talent so great to be able to back up that kind of attitude.
Absolutely.
So in the last couple of years, we've seen obviously like a day of reckoning for the film industry with Harvey Weinstein and obviously all the abuse that came out with that. And recently there's been a report in music on misogyny in music that sort of continues on, and it's exposing some of the abuse that's happened there. Do you think theatre is in need of its own day of reckoning, or perhaps it hasn't been as guilty of, you know, abuse towards performers or up and comers or that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I'm sure it must exist.
It's a big topic.
But I don't know. Theatre's weird, isn't it? I was talking about this the other day, because if you get loads of dancers together, as you'll know, like they sit on each other's laps, and you know, if that happened in an office, it'd be an HR issue. And yet dancers,
Oh my God, that's so true.
dancers conduct themselves
very physical and like
yeah.
comfortable with physicality.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean anything, because you use your
No.
body to
Yeah,
do
you're
all
dancing like
sorts
that
of
all the
things.
time.
Yeah, and you've been in a partnership with someone and done, you know,
Yeah,
your bodies
yeah.
are so close. And
Had the
there's no
head in
other
the
way.
crotch, or
Yeah, and it's
all
just part of the choreography, or
Yeah,
you know, the improvisation or something. So it's kind of like a different world. I do look back at things like, you know, in my 20s when I was doing, I don't know, like pantomime with kind of celebrities and stuff, and little things like getting smacked on the bum and stuff like that, and you kind of laugh it off. And I, you know, I don't remember feeling offended or violated, but it's you kind of look back now and go, we wouldn't do that now. And it's and I guess for me it's like an ew kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I imagine there must be situations, and I've heard of situations from friends of things that just, you know, horrendous. So yeah, I wonder if it's coming. I think people are a lot more careful now, and I think it's kind of difficult, isn't it? Because it's great that we've come to this kind of place, and behaviours that were tolerated and probably common, sadly, before. Are kind of everything's been brought into the light a lot more. I also think from a management point of view, you also have to be careful how you speak to people. If there's serious issues you're dealing with, you need to have someone else in the room with you. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of have to protect, from a management side, there's an interesting thing where perhaps we have to protect ourselves a little bit more now from situations. But is it coming? Probably. And I think people are much more happy to speak up rather than kind of keep quiet and allow these things to keep going on. So it's good. I think it's good. But from a personal point of view, you know, maybe I'm unscathed and I'm lucky. I don't know.
Yeah. What do you? Because are there many female resident directors around?
Not many. I've seen a few kind of coming through actually recently, and a lot more female directors, which is amazing. So
amazing.
There's none I know personally, I don't think, but I've seen a few, you know, on social media and stuff, and you know, friends of friends, and so I think it's coming.
It's slowly, it's sort of changing. It feels like in all different areas of entertainment. What do you sort of hope to see in the future?
In the industry?
In the industry, yeah.
Oh, that's such a big question. What do I hope to see? I think I hope to continue to see what I've seen on this tour and this show, which we were talking about before, about everyone supporting each other and everyone being pleased for each other, and everyone kind of having the same focus, which is to make the show the best it can. And so I think whatever job you're on, if everyone can, and that includes the director, the producers, if everyone can remove their personal ego and their personal kind of selfishness almost, and think about the bigger picture, which is how do we make this show really good, then everyone kind of pulls together and everyone doesn't mind if it's them that's got the starring bit or they haven't, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think when you have a room where everyone wants to kind of, and again, I guess it comes from insecurity and stuff, which we all have. It's not like I'm pretending that I'm not insecure.
Immune.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an actor. Of course we're
So,
insecure.
yeah.
But if everyone kind of removed that, I need to have my voice heard and I need to make sure that everyone knows I did that bit, or everyone, do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And whether you're a
Definitely.
performer or, behind the scenes, then you can get a really good production and a really good way of working because everyone's got the same focus, which is bigger than us as individuals. So
Definitely.
I'd love to kind of see that kind of thing. Maybe that's a pipe dream. I don't know. But sometimes you just get all the stars align. You just get a really good group of people together, don't you? And I guess if we could bottle it and sell it, then every show would have it. But
definitely.
What else? What have your other guests said? Have you asked them the same question?
Yeah, along similar lines. I mean, it's a bit different every time. But what I like to follow that up with is what is in the future for you. Like you did mention a bit, maybe going back to your acting a bit, but you're busy, obviously, with directing in your agency. But what do you want to achieve still, like career-wise and personally? Or what do you envision?
There's two big things, I think, actually. And I want to play this back in 2 years' time ago.
Yeah.
So just with the acting wise, they have one kind of big ambition left, and I kind of want to be in a like a fantasy drama kind of thing. So like a feature film that is like Indiana Jones or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I'd like to do some, even if it's just 2 lines, I just want to do something like that. You know, when you go on a set and it's a whole different world. That sort of thing I'd like to do. I'd like to work with Mike Lee. That's that might be a bit out there. I just think he's just a good director. Brilliant director. I've always wanted to do the Royal Court, but again, if I don't achieve that, that's not the end of the world. I can part that. If I had someone in my agency do Royal Court, it's almost the same thing. And I think agency wise, I'd like my agency to be in the same ilk as something like Curtis Brown, as in where you have different departments for different things, and there's only so many people I can hold in my head, and I always didn't want to have an agency with 200 people and just me. I think that's not fair. I think you can't, it's even proven that you can't hold more than a certain amount of people in your head. And I think people accidentally can become a number then, and that was always my dread, that I'd be a number in an agency, not a person. So to kind of grow it and grow it and grow it and have a director wing and a musical director wing and a writer wing, and this is the theatre wing, this is the commercials. So to grow it like that, but have the people around me that have the same vision as well, but support me, because you just can't do it all on your own. Or if you can, I don't think you're doing a service to the people that you have on your books, I think. And just to continue working with people who are not only great performers, great actors, great dancers, but really nice people. Like the best bit of my job is telling someone they've got a contract. And someone got a contract the other day, and I said, oh, you've got the part. And he was like literally speechless, and he was in the gym, and he was like, oh, thank you so much. Do I say congratulations to you too? I've never had a job before. And it's just so sweet and so lovely.
Genuine.
It made my day. And I think I know how that feels. That's been me. And it's also been me when you do 8 recalls and you don't get the job. That's also been me. So I really feel like I have a good empathy for that. But so just to continue working with people who are excellent professionally, but also, as we spoke about, excellent people
off stage.
behind the scenes.
Yeah, I love that. And just finally, this is just a bit of a funny, or could be a funny question, but is there anything that people don't know about you that might be like surprising, or do you have like a funny party trick or something, special skill?
Any party tricks.
Or you're like into
all.
knitting or something? I don't know. I was like, is there something you'd like to share that maybe might surprise people? Secret passion. Like, if you weren't in entertainment, what would you be doing?
What would I be doing if I was in entertainment? I don't know. I think my husband would say the secret thing about me, but it's not secret to him, is that I get words wrong all the time.
Right.
So, like my dad used to call my mum Mrs. Malaprop, because I will use the wrong word in the wrong. And my husband's a real wordsmith, so he loves
Right.
words. And just seeing the delight on his face as I use the wrong word or pronounce something wrong, and he won't jump in and
Maybe it's
help
just
me.
in his presence, knowing that he's such
Maybe
a
it is,
wordsmith,
but
because you've spoken so eloquently this whole time.
maybe. But even though I said one word and I thought, my husband's going to pull me up on that. I think I
Yeah.
said it wrong. I'm like, oh no. But so maybe loads of people would know that about me. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's anything. I don't really have many kind of, I'm quite an open book. I don't really have many secrets. And I definitely don't have
Yeah.
any great party tricks. And I can't like stand on my head or anything.
What
or
about
do
passion? Are
things.
you like a bookworm, or do you like to crochet?
No. Do I like to crochet? No. I like being in the sunshine. I like going on holiday and just, my husband and I went to Vietnam in January and it was 35 degrees. And most people are like, and we're like,
Yeah. Love
burning.
it.
No, not literally, but yeah,
Yeah.
love it. So maybe that's people don't know, but everyone would know that.
Yeah.
I think I put that
Amazing.
on my social media and like love the sun.
Like, I am a sun worshipper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Awesome. Oh, well,
Sorry,
thank you
boring
so much.
answer.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think it's always just a funny, um, yeah, I feel like it's not something you necessarily think about of yourself. That's why I
No.
kind of like the question, because I feel like, oh, maybe you go away and think, maybe I do have something that I'll discover that is like something that people don't know about me, or a little, take up a new hobby or
No,
whatever it
sorry.
is.
I mean, I don't like fish, but everyone knows that about me. And it's not very interesting.
Yeah. That's all
No,
good.
sorry.
All good. No.
Do you have one?
I can do this.
Do it again. How did you discover you could do that?
As a kid, and because as I've sort of gone on, I've met 2 other people in my life
Who can do the same thing?
it. Yeah, it's not a.
Has your husband tried to do it and then he can't do it? And
Oh yeah, everyone always tries to do it normally when
I'm
I
not even
try.
gonna try and embarrass
You're
myself.
gonna try and do it. You're gonna go away and try and do it.
No.
Though. Yeah.
But if I can, I'll message you.
Yeah.
I'm one of the 4.
Feel like I can do it. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a funny thing. Sometimes people have, party tricks, or like I think I had one guest who she's really into knitting. She's like super cool, like action woman.
But
And I
knitting's
was
quite
like,
cool these days.
it
don't you
is.
think?
This is the thing. That's why I asked about
Yeah.
crocheting, because I
That's quite
keep
cool
seeing
now.
people
Yeah.
on the train crocheting. I'm like, I wish I could crochet. Like,
Well, but if you wish you could, I suppose, on the train.
yeah, I have tried.
Really?
It's like several times, but knitting's more my thing. I find it easier.
I don't. I like doing jigsaws. All things.
Oh my gosh, I am with you.
Really?
Puzzles is, I'm like obsessed. I did one on the
Yeah.
weekend.
One of
Yeah.
the girls in our show, she gets sent jigsaws. She does them every week. She'll do a jigsaw. She loves it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
your thing. I think probably, well, people listening, they might not necessarily know that about
Do you know what? I haven't done jigsaw for about 8 years, but the reason I thought about it is my husband got given a wine jigsaw and it's at home, and I think, oh, we should do that jigsaw.
Okay.
Maybe that's what I do
I'm
when
going
I
to
get
go
home.
home tonight. Yeah. Drink some wine and do a
Sex,
wine
drugs,
jigsaw.
rock and roll. Gonna go home and do a jigsaw.
Yeah.
Welcome
It's
to life
cool,
in the
man.
40s.
Quiet nights in. Quiet nights in are cool. Let's normalise it being cool.
Yes, you're saying that because you've had lots of exciting wild nights out in your 20s, you see. So
Oh, yeah. That I don't ever wish to go back to. I don't miss that
Same.
time.
I don't
This time
either.
is the best time. Like,
I
chilled.
agree. It was
you
good at
know?
the time. I don't need to go back and repeat those things. I definitely don't hanker for going to a club now or...
This is the thing.
Yeah.
That was one thing actually I was going to maybe ask you about, is just how entertainment treats women with ageism, because that's a big topic of discussion. And every woman I know feels it. But the crazy thing to me is that the young ones
Yeah.
feel it. At 20 years old, I have students who are like, oh, if I don't make it in the next 2 years, that's it. Like, that's my opportunity gone in the music
Wow.
industry. And I'm just like, mouth on the floor. Like, that is crazy that you feel like that. Like, that should not be. We need to normalize like older women, even
it's-
starting in industries. Like, why can't they? Like, why
I think it's
can't we?
changing though.
Yeah.
I was saying that to some people on my agency and they're like, oh, I sometimes ask people their age when they're applying for the agency and they're like, oh, 31 or oh, 41. I was like, great. Do you know
Yeah.
how many people are out there who are ingenues and they're just left college? Thousands.
Yeah.
And as you get older, the pool gets smaller because people leave and, for the
Yeah.
reasons we spoke about earlier, the money or the stability or...
Yeah.
Actually, what I need more than anything on my agency right now is men and women in their 30s, late 30s,
Yeah.
and men and women in their 40s. I don't need
Yeah.
21-year-olds because there's loads. And I'm actually
Yeah.
seeing many more parts of people in their 30s, 40s, 50s that probably wouldn't have
That's
existed
amazing to
before.
hear.
So, and something I
Yeah.
encouraged someone about in the music industry before, I think if you write your own material, whether that's play-wise or, writing like that, poetry or music, you can enter the industry at any age. I think if you're singing
Yeah.
someone else's songs, then you need to be Britney Spears. But
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
are writing
Telling
your own
your
stuff,
story.
you could do that at 50.
Yeah. 100%. But yeah, that's exactly what I believe, and that's why I find it crazy when I've got,
Mm.
younger. There's also because lots of my sort of peers when I was studying, 5 years ago, are just still in their 20s, and they say exactly what we just said. Their fears about being too old already, and I just think that's crazy.
Wow. I didn't even think
That's
about my age till I was 25, and I still thought I was young. I just remember I was conscious of my age at 25,
yeah,
but I didn't think I was old.
no, no, it's madness.
In fact, I still don't think I'm old now, and then I look in the mirror and go, oh, you're definitely getting older.
Oh yeah,
But I don't feel it.
no,
I remember
this is
grandma
the
saying that
thing.
at 70. She's like, I feel 20,
Still the
whatever.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's very
that's right.
scary.
It is. Yeah, yeah.
It's because we put so much emphasis on it, though, I think. Every magazine's always like women, and they put the age, and it's like, why is that relevant? Or,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, I think it's changing.
Yeah, I think it's changing too. I'm glad you said that because I do think the industry is getting, perhaps if we said it like kinder towards women or more accepting of different, looks, different sizes, different ages.
For sure. And I
Yeah.
think I couldn't have been a resident director at 25. I wouldn't have had the confidence, but I also wouldn't have had the skill set. I wouldn't have had the knowledge. I wouldn't have had, I need to be this age to do that job. And I couldn't, for me, some other people can do, I couldn't have done it earlier. So I need to be this age to do that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's strength in that, isn't it? Because you can draw on your experience with confidence.
Yeah, when you get this wisdom comes with age. You like yourself more with age. You kind of care less about, you don't sweat the small stuff about yourself as you get older. There's so many benefits. I think everyone talks about, aging and loss of beauty and aches and pains and, and it's like, there's so many positives though.
Yeah, I agree.
I like myself much more than I did at 25, and I definitely look much better at 25. But if
Yeah.
you kind of get older and you go, I'm just going to embrace these things, so they're not really going to change. So yeah,
I 100% agree. I always say
Yeah.
to my husband, I just feel like I'm aging like fine wine. That's such a cliche, but
That's
I
so
do because I
lovely.
feel I'm better now than ever.
Yeah.
And that comes from inside, doesn't it? Like the cliche, but
Absolutely
when you feel
does.
good inside, you look good outside.
Absolutely.
And you're enjoying your life. When you feel good. So
Yeah, and all these 25 or 21-year-olds, I'd hate to be a kid now with social media. And,
it's frightening, isn't it?
you can be bullied even without going to school now.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, it's
bonkers.
wild.
Yeah.
No.
So
On
pray
that
for your
note-
daughters because it's being a
Oh
girl.
my gosh. Yeah.
It's a
I know.
lot.
I'm really. It's another discussion, but I'm very anti-social
another
media
podcast.
with my kids. Yeah, I'm like, you're not having social media until you're 16.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a whole world. I mean, maybe things would be different in 10 years, but it's hard to imagine sort of detaching society from screens and technology. It just feels like
Yeah.
we're just going further and further
Absolutely.
in.
I know.
It's a whole.
I know. We had
World.
some friends before, and one of them was on the phone all the time. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like,
That honestly breaks my heart. Like
I know.
seeing that, and my kids obviously they have time. They've got iPads, and we do half an hour, at specific times. But just seeing them, the way they're physically, their bodies, like their posture changes when they're on
Really?
those things. It literally makes me feel ill.
Particularly as
And
a
that's why I'm
dancer,
so
because you're
strict.
so about posture and,
Oh my gosh.
noticing when people are like
Oh,
this.
like
and,
that, and just
yeah.
I find it frightening. And I know, yeah, you just have to accept, like, okay, the new generations, they're going to operate differently and their experience will be different. But yeah, it does.
Don't you find it
scare me.
scary, though, that we are saying stuff that our parents said to us? Like, in my day, and you find yourself saying it and going,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
my gosh, I sound like my mum.
Yeah, yeah. But that's normal.
It
That's
is
normal.
absolutely
Each
normal.
generation, and and each younger generation will be like, oh, the older generation, oh, they're such like millennials, boring.
Do you find your
They'll
kids
always-
look at you, though, and at what age are they girls?
They're 10 and 6.
Did
yeah.
you, maybe the 10-year-old more, but kind of find it hard to believe that you were young once? Because you still feel young, you still look
Yeah.
young. But to a
Yeah.
10-year-old, you're not young.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so as you're telling them stuff, it's like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know what it's like. I do know what it's like.
Yeah, yeah. I think they probably find it hard to envisage me like at their age, but I think I'm quite, I still sort of act young. Like we go and climb mountains and
Yeah,
we do
absolutely.
cartwheels in the backyard and like
Yeah.
swinging on the swing. So I'm quite sort of playful with
Yeah, you're
them.
cool, mum. You've got your Nikes on, you've got taps,
Yeah,
you've got,
just my
it's
little-
like, you're not like some of the other mums, I'm sure. But
Yeah, and I like to keep that. And my mum was like that. Both my parents are really playful and, kind of childlike and creative. And so, yeah, I guess
my husband
That's
is
it
so childlike. I mean, he's 50. He just turned 50, and he's like,
Yeah.
I've never met someone who's such a kid
yeah.
ever. And he's got a really serious job. But he's just like a kid.
I love that he's got
I
a really
love that.
serious job, and then
I love it. In fact, Michael's
Yeah.
husband said to me the other day, like, he's going to keep you young, you know, because he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you're such a kid.
yeah,
But to keep that
it's
kind of silliness
yeah,
when the world's so serious sometimes is just so lovely. It's almost
100%.
childlike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's important. I feel like it's a nicer way to see the world. You know, you
Yeah.
see the joy and the things that are funny. You know,
Yeah.
like
There's enough time for being serious. You know, he's serious
Yeah.
all the time in his job. And he's
Yeah.
serious with the things that need to be serious about. But
yeah,
most of the time it's just, you know, it's like toilet humour. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
you're 50. That's so funny.
yeah.
So good.
Yeah. On that note, thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. Toilet humour. Thank
Yeah,
you
yeah.
so much.
On that note, time to
Thank you for
exit the
having me.
conversation. And
Oh, we should do a photo.
oh yes, thank you. We're going to do the photo.
Photo.
Fido.
Fido.
I sound so Aussie.
Do you want to
Yeah.
like actually do some sort of like closing something?
Can I just say, yeah, real quick, I just came up with this last night. Thank you so much, Juliet Gough, for coming on and chatting with me. It's been a pleasure. And to everyone listening, good night.
The greatest showwoman.